Who is this person? Do you know?
I don't know who that gentleman is, no.
No.
It's Dutch. He's a member of the royal family in Holland.
The King of the Netherlands. He's got like orange on, isn't he?
Yeah.
No.
Stig Larsson.
Oh, that's Chappie. That's the Prime Minister of
Go on.
Denmark.
No.
Sweden.
No.
Norway. Somewhere in Scandinavia.
More south.
Oh, Netherlands.
Duchess something.
No.
The Prime Minister.
Not far off.
That's like royalty.
I don't actually know.
It's a Monet, isn't it?
Oh, that's Vincent van Gogh, isn't it? Yeah.
Hang on.
Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
I know
yeah.
Van Gogh.
Yeah.
Oh, that one looks like a king.
Exactly.
But I don't know which king though.
I don't recognise this chap either.
Looks like a King of England of some kind. I don't know.
Yeah, you're onto it.
James or...
I never know any of
Not
them. I could
Charles.
completely guess at
Okay.
James somebody.
No, I'm not quite getting who that is, no.
No.
Oh,
That face?
no.
Who that is?
Oh, it's like Rutger Hauer.
It is Rutger Hauer. Wow, you're the first person to get that.
No idea.
Is that a really young Best?
Possibly.
Oh, Johan Cruyff.
Do you like football?
You like football.
That's Johan Cruyff.
Oh, that was a disaster.
What do you think correlates them? Because you've got two, and there is a correlation with all these people.
They're all royalties.
Not all royalties, but they're all from one country.
Oh, they're all from England.
No.
Dutch connection.
Dutch.
Yes.
These are all Dutch
They're
people.
all Dutch.
Are they all Dutch?
Oh, they're all Dutch.
So there we go.
So they're all Dutch then, aren't
They're
they?
all Dutch people.
Ah.
These people are all Dutch. Hello, welcome to Easy English. So today we're making a video with our friends Easy Dutch. I want to know what the people of Britain think of the Dutch. If they've ever been to the Netherlands, if they've ever met Dutch people, any stereotypes they had about Dutch people, and what about Dutch culture or a Dutch character trait would improve British life. Now our friends Easy Dutch are making the counter question to our episode. They're asking the Dutch what they think of the Brits. But back to our episode, this is what British people think of the Dutch. Before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe. Here we go. I feel like Brits don't really have much of a Dutch connection, really.
No.
Well, Amsterdam.
Go on.
Cafe shops.
In terms of Dutch people or the nation of the Netherlands or even Holland, what do you know about?
Nothing about that country. I've not even been there to visit.
Never been there at all in your life?
No.
Would you like to go at some point in your life?
No.
Whereabouts in the Netherlands have you been?
Pretty much everywhere, I'd say. Actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've toured Netherlands heavily, yeah.
Have you ever been to the Netherlands before?
I've been to Amsterdam.
Okay.
I've taught in Amsterdam,
Okay.
which is quite exciting.
What about your experience? You went to the Netherlands, right?
Yeah, I've been
Whereabouts
to the
did you go?
Netherlands. It's
Was it a hen?
so embarrassing. Is that Amsterdam? Yeah.
Was it for a hen party?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
I went a lot when I was young, when I was a student, and like when I went interrailing, I ended up in Amsterdam,
Right.
and obviously there was all the things that students that age
Yeah.
enjoy, and so that was part of the attraction, was to go there, meet our friends, party, get stoned.
But have you been to the Netherlands?
Yeah, I've been to Amsterdam a couple of times.
Okay.
That's where most people end up going, though, which is really cliche.
Yeah. Okay. And when did you go? Were you 17, 18 maybe?
Yeah, and more recently a stag do. So it couldn't be any more cliche visiting, to be honest.
Amsterdam for the usual kind of business fact-finding trips.
Liar, boys.
And Rotterdam for the European Cup Winners' Cup final in 1991.
He's been
Match
mostly
by Barcelona.
everywhere following Manchester United, you see.
Managed by Johan Cruyff at the time.
Have you been to the Netherlands?
Yeah, many
Whereabouts
times.
in the Netherlands?
She dated a Dutchman.
I dated a Dutchman
really?
for a while, yeah.
Oh, you didn't educate you very well on Dutch people.
Well,
This video is sponsored by italki, the site that allows you to find online language teachers for one-on-one tutoring. As a new user, you'll get $10 in italki credits after your first lesson if you register using the link go.italki.com/easy English. If you don't like reading complicated language books or listening to pre-recorded audio courses, then italki is for you. You'll get to practice your conversational skills under different real-world scenarios, as speaking with humans is the best way to learn a language. You can customize your lessons to cater for your learning needs and interests, and the one-on-one lessons provide you undivided attention with teachers at your preferred time, whether you're at home, at the airport, or at your local park. You have complete access. So head on over to italki with this link, go.italki.com/easy English to start your first lesson and get $10 in lesson credits. Is there like a character trait that you'd recognise in Dutch people?
Yeah, they're very tall. They're pretty chilled out. And yeah, they're quite, I don't know, they're quite nice.
I like the Dutch. I think they're very progressive and yet quite old-fashioned.
Right, interesting.
Yeah.
Why do you say old-fashioned?
Because they sort of have their traditions and their ways of doing things, which are quite traditional.
I thought you were going to say because they also have a royal family.
Oh no, I'm not bothered about that. But yeah, that could be part of it, yeah.
So I would say that, in my experience, usually quite outgoing, friendly, generous.
Yeah.
Some people might say they're kind of a confident bunch of people.
Okay.
Willing to kind of share their thoughts and opinions.
What do you think of the Dutch people that you met?
Their English is incredible.
Yeah.
I once had a very amusing episode where I went into the street and I was trying to find how to get from A to B because I was working there, and I went up to this guy who was sort of smartly suited and I said, "Do you speak English?" And he said, "Yes." As in, of course I speak English.
Are there any stereotypes that you had about Dutch people before you went there, and how did they kind of match up?
Oh yeah, so stereotypes: cycling, flat surfaces,
And the people?
the hurdy pronunciation, the people being a weird combination between quite staid and standoffish, and then incredibly free and open and mostly naked and sexual. Or
Before you went there, did you have a stereotype of what Dutch people would be like, and how did that kind of compare?
I think the only stereotype before I went was the Austin Powers freaky deaky Dutch guy, but I can't remember who his character was.
Gold member.
Was it Gold? Yeah. I don't know if that was that's the most fairest representation.
Well, there's that thing about, going Dutch and all that. So they could be quite mean in a sense. You go out to a restaurant or something and it's like, well, you
That's
had
not
the
going
drink.
mean, that's just being...
Yeah, but going Dutch is when you share the cost of a meal. They haven't got that English thing about the man should pay, which is good. It's part of their progressiveness, really. But it could come over as slightly mean.
There's a stereotype that I think the Brits have that never bothers me. But the Brits say, oh, they're very direct. And I say, well, fine, I'm happy with direct.
And did that match up?
Oh, completely, yeah. But I was completely fine with that. It makes life a lot easier. If you're asking directions, direct. If you're, asking a question, then you get a direct answer. I'm fine with that, yeah.
None of this beating around the bush that the
None of this beating
Brits
around
do.
the bush. And, if somebody bumps into you, they say sorry. They say, oh, I'm terribly sorry. Sort of, I'm not sure about whether I should say sorry or not. It's very sort of straightforward.
From your experience as a 17, 18-year-old smoking weed in Amsterdam, is there like a cultural thing or character trait which you could take from the Netherlands and put into Britain and make it kind of better, that would improve British people, culture, life?
Just by being a bit more laid back and chilled out.
What would you then take, as someone who's been to the Netherlands quite a lot, what would you take from culture, character trait, anything from the Netherlands that would improve like British life, British people?
Well, I don't know about these days because politically it's changed a great deal. I'd say it's not the same place it used to be 20 years ago, to be honest. But what I largely enjoyed about it is it's very, very friendly, very open, very welcoming. We are quite conservative in our thinking here, traditionally, unless you're in Brighton. But and over there, I would say I've made friends with fruit farmers who run festivals, as I've made friends with wild people that run clubs and bars through to the early hours of the morning. But they all actually rock up with some clogs on and think it's perfectly fine as well. I guess it's that they let go of what we all think is cool here.
Right.
They don't even consider that there.
So there's less sort of
less inhibitions.
And you bring that over.
Oh, I'd love to. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Yeah.
It would actually. Yeah.
I get there's much more of a sense of equality and equity. Whether that's a value, I don't know, but there's a concern for the underdog and more of a concern for being more equal, and economically they are more equal. The gap between the lowest paid and the highest paid is nowhere near as great as it is here.
Like a political thing.
There's a political thing rather than a social thing. I'm not answering your social question, perhaps, but as a political thing, but as a social thing, I don't know. I didn't get enough of a sense of difference.
Yeah.
Because I get a sense that socially maybe they're slightly closer to us. The sense of humour is certainly closer. They can do sarcasm. I've been to Sweden. Sarcasm doesn't work. Don't get it. Occasionally they find it funny because this is an English sense of humour. It's so amusing. They quite like. Where Dutch, it's the same.
We've made the wrong decision by moving out of Europe in terms of the European Union. We could be more like the Netherlands by still being in the European Union, but that's that's a bit too political for this.
Okay, and then what about a character trait? Is there something?
Character traits, yeah. So I think they're kind of again generalisations, but kind of British are perhaps more reserved,
right?
A bit kind of claim to be a bit shyer in that respect, and perhaps being a bit more outgoing and kind of approachable would be one thing.
Nice, that's a good one. Brilliant. Thanks for watching this week's episode. Let us know what you thought of both episodes in the comments below and any opinions you have on the Dutch. And we'll see you next week. Bye.